Hello everyone, welcome. Welcome to Vidyasagar Academy. Myself Yash Vidyasagar, and today onwards I will be teaching you the paper 1 of Vocational Bifocal Electronics, and the paper is called as Applied Electronics. To give a brief introduction about myself, I completed my BSc in Physics, Maths and Electronics from RLT College of Science, Akola, and currently I am pursuing my MSc in Electronic Science from Ferguson College, Pune, and I wish to continue this noble profession of teaching physics, electronics and robotics. So to give more about myself, I have currently a total of 18 research papers published in different national and international conferences, and currently working in some more research papers. And I also have my own YouTube channel where you can check out my cool stuff of physics, electronics and robotics as well. So wish me luck, and stay tuned, and don't forget to give your feedback about the lecture, and yes, continue. Good morning everyone. Today onwards we'll be starting with the paper 1 of Vocational Bifocal Electronics, and the link to the chapter 1 is provided to you in your Google Classroom. So don't forget to prepare for chapter 1 using that link, and we'll be starting with chapter 2, that is DC power supply. Now I suggest you to please have your notes beside you during this lecture so that you can quickly refer to what I am telling you. Now let's get started. So please open page number 25, and DC power supply. So starting with the DC power supplies, it is a very much important instrument in any electronic laboratory, because all the electronic devices work only on DCs. They cannot work on AC. Now you have to note a point over here that there is a difference between electronic and electrical devices. Electronic devices consist of some semiconductors in it, whereas electronic or electrical devices do not have any semiconductor devices in them. So electronic devices only work on DCs. You need to keep this point in your mind. So in this chapter we will be learning three types of DC power supplies, that is half wave rectifier, full wave rectifier and bridge rectifier, and some filter circuits as well, and regulator circuits as well. Now the main thing that comes in our mind whenever we say power supply is transformer. So in this chapter we will be strictly using step down transformer. Basically there are three types of transformer: step down, step up and center tap. And in this chapter we will be strictly using step down transformer only. Now coming to the block diagram of DC power supply, the block diagram can be divided into four parts. Number 1 will be the transformer, number 2 will be the rectifier circuit, number 3 will be the filter, and number 4 will be the regulator. We'll be starting with rectifier circuits first. Now coming to the rectifier circuits, please go to the page number 26, and we'll be starting with half wave rectifier. So half wave rectifier is a one diode circuit. It consists of a transformer, a diode and a load resistor. Now load resistor can be anything, even your phone's battery, and it can simply be an LED as well. Now talking about the construction of the circuit, the points of the secondary coil are named as point A and point B, as you can see in this diagram. So point A is connected to the anode of the diode D1, and the cathode of the diode D1 is connected to the load resistor, and same the circuit has been completed when the load resistor is connected to the point B. Now this is how the circuit is constructed. Now coming to the working of the half wave rectifier. So consider the first positive half cycle. During the first positive half cycle, that is this half cycle over here, during this positive half cycle, consider that point A is positive and point B is negative. As we know that AC changes its polarity 50 times in a second, therefore its frequency is 50 Hz. We say that the frequency of AC is 50 Hz. Now during this positive half cycle, the point A is positive and point B is negative. Therefore the anode of D1 is connected to the positive and the cathode is connected to the negative. Therefore this diode becomes forward bias, and therefore it conducts current. And it flows through R1. Therefore across R1 we will get this first positive pulse. Okay, and the path the current will follow is A, D1, RL, back to B, and again A. So this is how we will get first positive pulse. Now during the first negative half cycle, that is this half cycle, A will become, let me just do this, So A will become negative and B will become positive. Why? Because it is a negative half cycle. Now the anode is connected to the negative terminal and cathode is connected to the positive terminal. Therefore D1 is in reverse bias condition. So therefore it will not conduct the current, and simply we will get nothing across the resistor L1, that is load resistor. Now again, when it comes to the second positive half cycle as well, A will be positive and B will be negative. Therefore diode D1 will be forward bias and it will conduct current. So the path that current will follow is again A, D1, RL, B and back to A. Therefore we will get another positive pulse across the load resistor RL. Now this is the actual working of the half wave rectifier. Now talking about some properties or some characteristics of half wave rectifier, the average DC voltage will be VDC is equal to Vp upon pi. We'll have a separate lecture and we'll have a separate tips lecture where I will tell you about this equation in brief. Now Vp is equal to Vrms into root 2. Now you need to note down these two definitions, these two formulas separate. At the end of this lesson, there is a chart in which all the formulas are given systematically in the tabulate manner. Ripple factor is equal to Vrms upon Vdc. Now, if you are given Vdc and you are given Vrms, then you can simply calculate ripple factor. And my friends, note down that when we will be solving different numericals on half wave rectifier, here these formulas will be very much important for you guys. Now it is very much important that you please note down this formula. I am telling you these things again and again, because in board exams there is a different weightage, there is a separate weightage for all these formulas and the numericals that we are about to will be solving. Now this was all about half wave rectifier. Now let us quickly revise what we have learned. The primary of the transformer is connected to the AC mains supply and the secondary is connected to the circuit. So the secondary point A is connected to the anode of D1 and the cathode is connected to the load resistor and back to point B. So this is how the circuit is constructed. Now during the first positive half cycle, diode D1 will be in forward bias condition, therefore it will conduct the current and we will get the first peak positive voltage across load resistor RL. Now during the first negative half cycle we will get nothing. Why? Because the diode D1 is in reverse bias condition and this will go on simply during the along the time axis, this will go on. Now coming to full wave rectifier, please come at page number 27 and the circuit, the construction of the circuit is given. This is the positive, this is the full wave rectifier. Now in full wave rectifier, one thing you need to keep in mind that the transformer used here is a center tap transformer. That is, you can see there are three terminals, 3 points taken out of the secondary. The point number 1 is A, point number 2 is B, and there is a third point C. Now the main property of center tap transformer is that at point C, the potential that this point carries is always equal to 0 volts. There is no potential across C at point C. There is no potential at point C. So this is the main thing that you need to keep in mind. So during the first positive half cycle, consider that point A is positive and point B is negative. Okay. So A is at higher potential as compared to point C, because at point C it is 0. So A is at higher potential. Therefore diode D1 will be forward bias. Okay. So when diode D1 will be in forward bias, it will conduct current as I am showing right now. Okay, so the path that current will follow will be A, D1 going through RL to C and back to A. This is the path that the current will follow. So during the positive half cycle, A will be at positive potential. This is the first positive half cycle, and across RL, when the current will flow in this direction, we will get this positive ripple. This positive output we will get at RL. Now when it comes to first negative half cycle across the secondary, B will be positive and A will be negative. Now again B is at higher potential as compared to C. Now D2 will become forward bias. Okay, D2 will become forward bias and it will conduct current, and the path that current will follow will again be B, D2, RL, C and back to B. This is the path that current will follow. You need to keep this thing in mind. The paths are very much important. Now, when talking about the graph, now during the first negative half cycle, we will also get a positive ripple at across RL. Why? Because the current is flowing in the same direction that in the first case. So let us quickly revise again what we have seen. During the first positive half cycle, A is at higher potential as compared to C. Why? Because C is at always zero potential and A is positive. So therefore, diode D1 will be in forward bias condition and it will conduct current. Okay, so the path that current will follow is A, D1, RL, C. This will be the path. Okay, so I'll just enlarge this and as you will be having a clear picture. This is the path that current will follow. Okay, A, D1, RL, C and back to A. Now the condition over here will be across this we will get the first ripple across RL. Now during the first negative half cycle, B will be positive and A will be negative. This negative half cycle, B will be positive and A will be negative, and C is always at zero potential. Therefore, B is at higher potential as compared to C. Therefore, diode D2 will be in forward bias condition and the current will flow and the current will follow this path. This. Back to B. Understood? So the path will be B, RL, B, D2, RL and back to B. So we will get this ripple across RL, and also during this positive half cycle we will get this ripple, and during this negative half cycle we will get this ripple, and this will continue. As you can see, this is the detailed working of the first positive half cycle and the first negative half cycle. Now again the average DC voltage will be twice. Why? Because in half wave rectifier we saw that during this complete cycle, let me just clear this, and then you will get a clear idea about this. During this complete cycle we are just getting a single ripple. The negative half cycle is being wasted, you see. Therefore the average voltage is just single Vp upon pi. Now when it comes to average voltage of full wave rectifier, it is twice Vp upon pi. It is twice Vp upon pi. Why? Because the complete cycle, that is complete sinusoidal wave, is being consumed, and the even the second even the negative half cycle are being converted into positive waveforms. So therefore the average DC voltage is twice Vp. It can also be said that average DC voltage of full wave rectifier is twice that of average DC voltage of half wave rectifier. Is it okay? Now again Vp is equal to Vrms into root 2. Now peak frequency is twice Fin, that is frequency. Again, because the frequency is 50 Hz, now ripple frequency will be twice into Fin, that is 100. Considering that the Vin, that is Fin, is 50 Hz. So this was all about the half wave rectifier, full wave rectifier and the introduction to DC power supply. The next topic, bridge rectifier, will be covered in the next video, the upcoming video. And if you have any doubts, any queries, any problems, feel free to contact us. You can even contact Vidyasagar sir, or you can even contact me. And the next video will be posted right after this video. So go check that out. Thank you.